Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us.
It's great to be here.
Today we're looking at a collection of quotes called Women Empowerment, Famous Quotes Collection.
Oh, this should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's really thought-provoking stuff, and each quote has these little commentaries that really get you thinking.
Like little conversation starters.
Exactly, and I was flipping through and one quote just kind of jumped out at me.
Oh yeah, which one?
Well, it's quote number 9 by Oscar Wilde.
Oh, wow.
Now, you wouldn't really expect Wilde to be like a champion for women's empowerment, right?
Yeah, not the first name that pops into my head.
Exactly, but that's what makes this so interesting.
Just a bit of a curveball.
Totally. So Wilde says, women are meant to be loved, not to be understood.
That's interesting.
What do you make of that?
It's a simple statement, but profound too, right? On the surface, it almost sounds like he's saying women are these mysterious creatures,
Always baffled.
Yeah, but I think there's a deeper layer here, almost. Like he's challenging the whole idea that women need to be, dissected and analyzed.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. So instead of trying to figure women out, we should just
embrace the mystery. Maybe celebrate the fact that they can't be put into neat categories.
Right.
It goes even deeper than that, though. I think Wilde's hinting at something fundamental about how we approach relationships.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Imagine a world where we love women because of their complexities, not in spite of them.
I like that.
Where we don't try to, squeeze them into some predefined box.
Yeah, make them conform to our expectations.
Right. We accept them fully in all their, glorious contradictions.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a form of empowerment in itself?
I think so.
It makes me think about all the times I've felt this pressure to explain myself,
Oh, yeah, totally.
to justify my choices or make myself more understandable.
And how exhausting that gets.
Extremely. And it's like we're constantly being asked to shrink ourselves, to fit into someone else's narrative.
Exactly.
And maybe that's the real beauty of Wilde's quote,
Yeah.
It's not about saying understanding isn't important, but recognizing that love doesn't have to depend on it.
You don't have to fully understand someone to love them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about letting go of that need to control or define and embracing the freedom that comes with just loving someone for who they are, mysteries and all.
I love that idea.
And it's interesting, the book's commentary actually says something similar.
Or does it?
Yeah, it talks about the importance of accepting women unconditionally without trying to force them into preconceived roles.
That makes sense, especially given the theme of the book.
Right, and that broader theme of women defining their own identities.
It's about letting go of those societal pressures and giving women the space to be their authentic selves.
Definitely. So it's like we're shifting the focus from, figuring women out to just celebrating them.
Absolutely. And, speaking of celebrating women, it reminds me of another quote from this book that really fits with what Wilde is saying. It's Simone de Beauvoir.
Oh, wow.
And she was a prominent feminist thinker.
Right.
And her quote challenges this idea that womanhood is purely biological.
Huh.
She really emphasizes how society and culture shape our identities.
That's interesting. It's like all those external pressures are already trying to define us,
Yeah, before we even get the chance to figure ourselves out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we're always trying to meet those expectations, how can we ever really discover who we are?
You can't.
Right? How can we embrace our individuality?
You make a good point there.
So bring it back to Wilde, are you saying that by loving women without needing to understand them, we're actually freeing them from these societal constraints?
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could be that by letting go of the need to label or categorize, we're actually creating a space for women to really become their truest selves.
Yeah.
A space where they can define their own identities on their own terms.
It's blowing my mind. It's like Wilde's quote just unlocked a whole new level of thinking about women's empowerment.
It's amazing how these quotes can do that, right?
Totally. And this whole idea of defying expectations and forging your own path, it's all over this book.
Yeah, there's a quote from Laurel, Thatcher, Ulrich.
Oh, yeah, I love her.
And it just sums it up perfectly. Well-behaved women seldom make history.
That's so good.
Yes.
It's like a call to action, right?
It is.
A reminder that real change comes from the people who break the mold.
Exactly. Question the status quo, challenge the rules and refuse to be silenced. And if we think about that in the context of Wilde's quote, there's a beautiful synergy there.
I like that.
Could it be that by loving women without this need to control them or define them,
Yeah.
we're actually nurturing those well-behaved women who then go on to make history?
Wow. Never thought about it that way,
Right.
but it makes so much sense. It's like we're creating a ripple effect of empowerment.
Exactly. Empowering women to embrace their individuality, to be bold, take risks, and make their mark on the world.
Yeah. And this book is just full of examples of women who've done that.
Oh.
From people like Malala Yousafzai to icons like Beyoncé. These are women who defied expectations and carved their own paths.
It's so inspiring.
It really is. It's a testament to the power of women's voices,
Yeah.
and the impact they have when they're free to express themselves.
For sure.
Thinking about all these amazing women and their journeys reminds me of another quote that really stuck with me.
Oh, which one?
It's Eleanor Roosevelt. And she uses this really striking analogy.
Okay.
A woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong she is until she gets in hot water.
What a visual, right?
I know. It perfectly captures the resilience of women.
Yeah, we often don't realize our own strength until we face a challenge.
Right. And in those moments of adversity, we discover this wellspring of strength we never even knew we had.
Like a hidden superpower.
Exactly. And the book's commentary on this is all about recognizing the inner strength of women.
Makes sense.
It asks, have you ever underestimated the strength and resilience of a woman, only to see her true power come out when she's faced with adversity?
That's
It makes you really re-examine your assumptions,
Yeah.
and appreciate the depth and complexity of the women around us.
You're so right.
It makes you realize that strength can show up in so many different ways. It's not always about being loud or assertive. It can be quiet determination, unwavering resilience, or even just the courage to be yourself in a world that's always telling you who you should be.
Beautifully said. And it speaks to how true empowerment comes not just from individual strength, but also from collective action and solidarity.
Yeah.
It's realizing we're all in this together,
Right.
and that we're stronger when we support each other.
I couldn't agree more. It's about lifting each other up,
Yeah.
celebrating each other's successes, and creating a culture of support and encouragement.
Absolutely.
And that reminds me of another great quote from the book.
Go on.
This one's by Kavita Ramdas.
Okay.
It's a bit longer, but it's worth it. We need women who are so strong. They can be gentle, so educated. They can be humble, so fierce. They can be compassionate. So passionate, they can be rational. And so disciplined, they can be free.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It captures the multifaceted nature of womanhood so well, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It challenges the idea that we have to be one thing or another.
Right.
We can be strong and gentle, fierce and compassionate, disciplined and free.
It's like breaking free from those old limiting stereotypes
Exactly.
that try to define us so narrowly.
It reminds us that these qualities aren't mutually exclusive, but they actually work together, to create these well-rounded, empowered individuals.
And it makes you think about all the amazing women who embody these qualities every day.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that true empowerment is about embracing all parts of ourselves without apology.
Without reservation.
Totally.
Recognizing that our strength comes not from fitting in, but from our individuality, our complexity.
Yeah.
The things that make us unique.
Thinking back to where we started with Oscar Wilde's quote about loving women without understanding them. It's crazy how that one simple statement opened up this whole world of insight into women's empowerment.
It's amazing the power words have to make us think in new ways and challenge what we believe.
For sure. It makes me wonder, what role does understanding play in all of this?
Oh, that's interesting.
If we're not trying to understand women to control them or define them,
Yeah.
what kind of understanding are we aiming for?
That's a great question, and I think it's key as we move forward. Maybe it's about seeking understanding with women, not of them.
I like that subtle but important difference.
It shifts the focus from trying to decode or analyze to genuinely listening, empathizing, and supporting women on their own journeys.
It's like moving from a place of judgment to a place of curiosity and connection.
Exactly. And that's where true empowerment can really thrive, when women feel seen, heard, and valued for who they are without having to explain themselves.
Without having to justify themselves.
Exactly.
Wow. It feels like we've been on this amazing journey exploring women's empowerment.
It really is incredible how one quote can spark so many layers of discussion, right?
Yeah, and speaking of sparking thoughts, the book actually ends with a question that I think kind of sums up everything we've been talking about.
Oh, I'm curious. What's the question?
It asks, consider this. How can society better recognize and empower women to fully embrace their power and potential?
That's such an important question. and one that we need to keep thinking about and acting on.
Absolutely. And I think part of the answer lies in what we've been discussing today, embracing the message of Oscar Wilde's quote, to love and appreciate women for who they are, all their complexities and everything, without trying to put them in boxes or tell them what to do.
It's funny. When we started this deep dive, I never would have thought that Oscar Wilde would offer such a profound insight into women's empowerment.
Me neither.
Yeah.
It just shows you that wisdom can come from the most unexpected places.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about exploring these ideas with an open mind. You never know where you'll find these nuggets of truth that can totally change your perspective and inspire you to make a difference.
This whole experience has been a good reminder that empowering women isn't just about these big gestures or, huge societal changes. It can start with something as simple as really seeing and appreciating the women in our lives for who they are.
And maybe even more importantly, creating a world where they feel safe and supported to reach their full potential, to be those well-behaved women who go out and make history.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dives into this incredible collection of quotes. But like you said, the conversation doesn't have to end here.
Right. We encourage you to keep thinking about these ideas. Challenge your own assumptions and keep talking about how we can create a more just and equal world for women.
Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery. Until next time, keep those amazing quotes coming and never stop questioning, learning, and growing.
We rise from the shadows and dance in the light, unlocking our power, igniting the night. In this deep dive we find strength in our voice, every woman a leader with dreams and a choice. Stand tall and proud, we're breaking the mold, with hearts full of fire, our stories get told. Together we soar on wings wide and free. The deep dive calls to you, come join and you'll see. With passion we conquer, each mountain we climb, an unstoppable force in rhythm and rhyme. In this podcast we shine like stars on the rise, uniting our spirits, breaking the ties. Stand tall and proud, we're breaking the mold, with hearts full of fire, our stories get told. Together we soar on wings wide and free. The deep dive calls to you, come join and we'll see. We conquer, each mountain we climb, an unstoppable force in rhythm and rhyme. In this podcast we shine like stars on the rise, uniting our spirits, breaking the ties. Stand tall and proud, we're breaking the mold, with hearts full of fire, our stories get told. Together we soar on wings wide and free. The deep dive calls to you, come join and